the gravity will flip, causing you to go from the ground to the ceiling and vice versa. The good thing about this, though, is it wipes off any enemy on screen. Even if enemies are flying in the air, it will flip the gravity on them, causing them to fall and destroy themselves. So, it's a good way to clear the screen of any enemies. So use the gravity back and forth depending upon when you're on the ceiling or ground in order to keep all the enemies at bay while you're making your way through. You can jump up here to grab a star for a little bit of extra health, and then 2 bags of throwing objects to take out any enemies that get in our path. At this spot, if you want to, you can bounce off the marching soldiers to get up here and grab the gravity in order to destroy the enemies and then continue along the bottom. At the end of this area, if you need some health, you can bounce off the 2 soldiers to grab any extra health before we enter the exit and go into the boss battle for Toyland. The boss battle of this stage, as you can see, is a spring-loaded jack-in-the-box. This enemy bounces around the room and then sends his boxing glove either on the left or right side, depending upon where you're at, in your direction. He does so every 2 or 3 jumps, so be sure to get ready to duck after every 2 or 3 jumps, and then, once he throws that boxing glove out, it comes back to him and he throws springs out for you to jump on and then jump onto his head. So as long as you're ready to duck anytime that you need to, you should have no problem getting past this boss. It will take about 6 or so jumps on his head in order to destroy him, though. This boss, along with a few others in the game, will get redder and redder the more times you do damage to him, so you can see that the battle is getting closer to the end. Once he's been defeated, we grab the red gem and it's time to move on to the 3rd level of Castle of Illusion. The 3rd stage begins in this weird dark forest type area, and is actually a little bit of a maze. You have all these different sections below you, but only one of these sections will take you to the end of the level. Be sure to cross the bridge quickly so you don't fall down. However, the second bridge that's going to break apart is the one that we're going to head down. Once you get to the second bridge, walk along it, then fall down. Be sure to watch out for the fish, though he's probably gonna hit you, and be sure not to get sucked down the first hole, as that will just put you back in a loop. You want to get to the second hole that I went through in order to get over to the exit and complete that section. The second section of the level takes place inside a temple. In this section, our biggest threat is the bats that we've been dealing with, but also we're going to have some rushing waterfalls that you're going to have to wait for them to stop in order to make it over a few jumps. You can use the fish to jump out of the water to bounce yourself up to the top level of this area. Like I mentioned, wait for the waterfalls to stop before you jump over those gaps. When you run out of platforms on the top section, you're going to have to head down. Be careful when you make your descent so you don't accidentally fall into any of the gaps and land in a pit. Just be careful while making your single jumps along these small little platforms as you make your way towards the exit and the next section. The third section of this temple level is this area where water will slowly rise up, And if the water gets to a certain point, it will take you and bring you all the way back to the beginning of the area. So you want to be very careful while making your way through, waiting for the right time to make your way to the next platform. This whole area really isn't too difficult as long as you take your time and know exactly how long you're going to have between each rushes of the water so you can get to the next platform. Once you reach the end, you make it to the exit and it's time for the third boss battle of the game. This boss battle is a giant totem that these little green goblins come out of. You have to jump on their head, and when you do, it sends them spinning into the totem, eliminating one more piece of it. The only real attack from them other than their jumping is this mirage attack that some of the later ones are going to start doing to you. Just be ready to jump over it when they usually jump over to the far left wall. That's when they're going to do it, so be prepared and jump. And then jump on their head, sending them spinning into the totem, and after doing so you'll collect the third gem and move on to the fourth level of the game. The fourth level is a little bit different. As we start off, you can see that the area is a very oversized house-type place. Watch out for the jumping letter A's, one of the more interesting enemies that we've had to face so far. Watch out for the bugs, and then you're going to make it to the right and jump inside a milk bottle to take you to a very colorful world. This area inside the milk bottle is full of many desserts and a dentist's nightmare, as you're going to make your way through, making your way from platform to platform as a river of milk flows below you, and you have gummy fish that jump out of the water. This is probably one of my favorite areas of the game because it's very colorful and very beautiful to look at. On this last section, we jump on some wafer platforms as they spin around the room, we collect some objects, and make our way towards the exit. When we make our way to the exit of this area, though, we actually collect a gem for completing this section, the green gem. We now have 4 gems, and we only have 3 more to go. Once we're back outside the milk bottle, you can see it's now closed, and we're actually going to begin our way heading upwards this time. Use the chains to swing your way across, and remember, any enemy that gets in your path, you'll easily destroy as you're swinging. Make your way quickly through this section, as the books will start to fall down when you're making your way through. When you make it up here, you don't have to go in here, but you can go to a special section by jumping inside the cup, and you go to a little bonus area. Just be careful while swimming around this area, watching out for the enemies as you make your way through. This little bonus section has lots of gems to collect as you're dodging the enemies and making your way through the water. When you reach the end, though, you're going to end up back outside right by the cup, and now we're going to head on to the next area. When you get up to this area, we're going to actually first go up here by jumping on the chain and making your way across to the right. This whole section is completely optional, but you can collect some health items along this area in case you needed some help. This area is a little bit tough to get through because of so many enemies, but you get 1 health through here. When we make our way down here, though, there's 2 pieces of health in this special little room. Use the letter A's to your advantage to bounce off of them to get up here, watch out for the grub worms, grab the 2 pieces of health, and if you want to, grab the 10 throwing objects. We are now going to go back to where that rolling red apple was. Just like the apple on the first stage, you're going to quickly run down the hill, but this apple ends up landing into a cup. Go over to the right and jump into the second milk bottle to go to the boss level of this section. This boss is a giant red gummy dragon that pops out of the water in different sections. The best area to stand in my opinion, is the middle one, because you're going to have an open view of all the different sections the dragon can pop out of. As soon as the dragon emerges, be ready and quickly throw an apple at him, and he'll immediately descend back into the water, continuing this. It will take a good amount of apples to destroy this boss, but don't worry.